is a new village or an existing village, one of the first things that we have to achieve is the jama'ah and the amir. That's the basic structure of the Muslim village, the jama'ah and the amir. If there are non-Muslims in the village, then the jama'ah will have links with them as a collective unit. It is not that individual Muslims will be negotiating with individual Hindus and individual Jews, no. So the village will have as a unit the Muslim community, and as a unit the Hindu community, and as a unit the Jewish community, for example. And these communities will have a collective agreement for sharing the same space. We call that a plural model. Plural model of a state, plural model of a community. And this is exactly what the Prophet did, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, when he reached Medina. But we're not going to spend time today on how to negotiate that agreement or constitution for the village. We're going to spend more time on the Muslim community in the village. It has to be one jama'ah and one amir. And since it's a small village, one masjid, you don't need two. All the Muslims in the village who want to be counted as a part of the village must give the bay'ah, or the oath of allegiance, to the amir. The amir is chosen based upon knowledge of the Quran coming first. Because if you don't know the Quran, you're not going to survive, not at all. And we have in this retreat spoken to some extent on methodology of studying the Quran. But having chosen your amir, whether he be black or white, or brown or yellow, even if he has a head with dry grapes, said the Prophet ﷺ, obey him. Obey him. But that's a problem today, because this is the age of boxing gloves. Yeah. You have this group out here who say they alone have the true Islam. And those fellas out there committing shirk morning, noon and night. And you have this group out here who demonize that group out there. And so you have sectarian warfare. It is spreading like a disease all over the world. His father, Abu Amina Bilal Phillips, and I we were jointly invited to conduct an Islamic lecture tour of Malaysia about 10 years ago probably. And it was a very nice lecture tour. Bilal Phillips and myself around. They say he's a Sufi and he's a Salafi. we were friends with each other. So Malaysia was amazed. How could Bilal Phillips and Imran Hosein get along so well? When the lecture tour was over, go and look at the internet and see, and read what they're saying. The boxing gloves were out. The boxing gloves were out. How do we deal with the problem of sectarianism? Our answer is, and if you have a better answer, please give it to us. Our answer is, only the Quran and only Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam can unite the Muslims. That's our answer. And so it is the Quran and the Sunnah which must unite the community. Good? And so we say in the masjid, we will not permit in the masjid anything which is not firmly based on the Quran and the universally recognized Sunnah. Alright? Okay. But there are practices, religious practices, which have emerged over time. Very large numbers of Muslims all over the world today, including my own teacher and his teacher before him, stood up and sang in praise of the Prophet ﷺ. And if your answer is, well, we must part from those people, we can't have anything to do with that, how are you going to unite them in the village? This is our answer. If you have a better answer, please give it to us, and we will take it. Our answer is, if a religious practice is not overtly evil, like we're going to have a zikr with whiskey, and when the zikr is over, we're going to really dance. that is evil. Okay? But if we're going to have a zikr as conducted by, where's the Imam? Imam?
Oh.
Where is he, outside? There he is. What's his name again?
Sheikh Mani.
Sheikh Mani. MashaAllah. May Allah bless Sheikh Mani. May Allah bless Sheikh Mani. May Allah bless Sheikh Mani. If you have a religious practice which is clearly beneficial, but which is not based on the Quran and the universally recognized Sunnah, like the one I have, that I have a zikr of the recitation of Surah Al-Kahf. Recitation of Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jummah, that is firmly in the Sunnah. But collective recitation of Surah Al-Kahf is not. It's not. Because it is not, the collective recitation is not in the Sunnah. But I have chosen to have the collective recitation because there are some people who don't ever recite the Quran. Never. There are others who don't know how to recite the Quran. They always say, give me the English Quran. And there are others who are so weak that if I have the collective zikr, they will come and they will recite, but when I don't have it, they will not do it. So you have to teach them to creep. So for this reason I have the collective recitation of Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jummah. But because it is not in the Sunnah, I do not take it to the masjid. No. I do not take it into the public life. No. I bring it into the private in order to avoid fitna. In order to avoid fitna. So this is the methodology for solving the sectarian cancer. That in the Muslim village, the masjid and the public life of the village would be firmly built on the foundations of the Quran and the universally recognized Sunnah. Any other religious practice, regardless of how beneficial it is, regardless of how many people are engaged in it, we will say keep it in the private and do not bring it into the public, so that we can avoid fitna. And so in this village, Bilal Phillips and Imran Hosein can live comfortably together. Oh yes. But when someone comes into the village now and sees or hears about someone in private standing up and singing in praise of the Prophet ﷺ and starts shouting bid'at haram, what do we do? After, of course, warning that person. we'll ship them out of the village faster than Federal Express. Why? Because you're creating fitna. Now then, this is my plan for the village. To solve the problem of disunity, to bring unity, to resolve the problem of sectarianism. If you have a better plan, please give it to us. This is an age of not only facade in the social sphere, which is a sectarianism, there is also facade in other spheres as well. Facade in food. Food. Supermarket food is increasingly going in the direction of something called, I don't know if you've ever heard about it, rubbish. Yeah. You're going to feed your children rubbish? Huh? The genetically modified food and the link with food functioning medicinally. The genetically modified food and the immune system. The genetically modified food and the capacity of the male to produce sperm, in which you will have male chromosomes and female chromosomes. Is there a link between food and sperm production? Is there a link between food and the capacity of the body to produce the male chromosomes? Because when you don't have the male, or the male is too weak, then the female is born. Food production, milk production, and today the hormones in the milk. And if you keep on drinking the hormones in the milk, would women have beards tomorrow? And would men now develop in such a way that looking at the profile you don't know who's a man and who's a woman? Hormones in the milk. Thank Allah that we have amongst our sisters some who are doing good research on the subject, and we're going to ask them to talk later on. So in the village, to make it short now, in the village we have an absolute obligation to produce our own food, to produce our own milk, to produce our own meat. So dairy farming, food crops, and to try as best as we can to avoid genetically modified seeds. And sometime earlier in this retreat we showed how we could do it without having to spend money going to laboratories to check out a seed. The way we do it is with honey production, because the bees will not go to those plants which have come from genetically modified seeds. In this way, our children will grow up in the Muslim village, healthy, eating the food that Allah has ordained that they should eat. The youngest member of this retreat, have you met him? Who is he? Not Mahad. My grandson Mahad here is about what, 11? 12. No, we have someone younger than him. Ah, Suleiman, yes. Where is Suleiman? Suleiman is how old? 1?
4 months, just over 4 months.
4 months. Look at that. So Suleiman will grow up eating pure food. If you, the parents, give him rubbish to eat, you will be accountable to Allah on Judgment Day. Alright? And that's what the world is returning to now with the corruption of food. The village, because it will be producing organic farming, the best milk, the best meat, and the best food crops in the village, can build an economic base for the village by marketing excess production outside of the village. And remember, the 5-star restaurants would be happy to buy our food because they want the best. And they know they can trust us better than they can trust the other fellows out there.